parents wonder, will intimacy ever feel the same again? And the truth is, when you have a baby, your family experiences an initiation into a new phase of life. And in many ways, everything is different because you've entered a new chapter. And there are changes that happen in the body as a result of bringing a baby into the world. And that's perfectly normal. The body has an incredible ability to heal, recover, and regenerate after birth. And while some changes may stay, that doesn't mean that anything has been lost. There is something so sexy about having the capability to bring life into the world. There is something exciting, even spontaneous, about fully embracing the changes that life has to offer and stepping forward into this new phase as a family together. So I invite you to fully embrace it. Love yourself, love your partner, love each other. Explore your new body with awe, wonder, and celebration for the miracle that it is. Sex may not be exactly the same as before, but what if it could be even better? There are neural pathways in the vaginal canal that connect to the spinal cord and help us experience sensation. So when you give birth, you create new connections to those parts of the vaginal canal. You awaken sensation in areas that may have never been fully activated before. And many people actually experience sex as better after birth because of this deepened connection to their bodies. And having a baby gives you an opportunity to pause, to step out of your usual patterns and routines around sex and come back together with fresh eyes, new ways of connecting and deepening intimacy. Because having a baby deepens intimacy, if you let it. And anything that deepens intimacy will naturally be reflected in your sex life. So honor your body, care for your body, love your body, and create opportunities for your body to experience all the pleasure that they deserve. The pelvic floor's role in sex and postpartum pleasure. The pelvic floor is the foundation of sexual function. These muscles play a role in blood flow and sensation. A well-balanced pelvic floor allows for proper circulation, increasing arousal and sensitivity. Orgasmic response. The pelvic muscles contract rhythmically during orgasm, and their strength and flexibility directly impact pleasure. Vaginal tone and elasticity. The ability to contract and relax these muscles affects comfort and pleasure during penetration. So when the musculature of the pelvic floor is balanced and the inner workings of the vaginal canal have had an opportunity to recover, an opportunity for more pleasure than ever experienced before has the potential to become unlocked. And this is because so many of us walk through life without having much awareness of our pelvic floor. But if we give the pelvic floor enough time to recover after birth, and we address the discomforts that resulted from birth, the pelvic floor and vaginal canal will make a full recovery, and you'll be at the other side of it all with a newfound connection to your pelvic floor. The birth recovery process serves as an opportunity for people to awaken to the pelvic floor, which supports deeper, more connected, and more pleasurable intimacy. But when out of balance, issues like pain or discomfort or numbness or lack of sensation can arise. The anatomy of female pleasure. The female body is designed for deep, expansive, and multi-layered pleasure. Unlike male pleasure, which is often focused on a singular pathway, female pleasure involves an intricate network of nerves and muscles and blood flow and hormonal responses. So understanding how different anatomical structures contribute to sensation can help unlock the full spectrum of pleasure available to women and people with uteruses. The clitoris, the epicenter of pleasure. Ooh! The clitoris is the most nerve-dense organ in the human body, containing over 10,000 nerve endings, more than double that of the penis. Sorry, guys. However, what many people don't realize is that the visible part of the clitoris, which is the glans, is only a small portion of the structure. The full clitoris extends internally, wrapping around the vaginal canal, kind of like a wishbone. And it consists of the glans, which is the external sensitive tip located just above the urethra, the shaft, which is a deeper structure running beneath the skin, the crura, which are the legs, and these are two elongated branches that extend along the pelvic bones, and then the vestibular bulbs. And these are two erectile tissues that sit on either side of the vaginal opening, and they swell during arousal. When stimulated, the clitoris engorges with blood, which enhances sensitivity and pleasure. And because of its extensive reach, clitoral stimulation can activate pleasure in the vagina and even deep within the pelvis, like with anal penetration or anal play. Vaginal pleasure and internal stimulation. So key areas of internal pleasure include the G-spot, which is a cluster of spongy tissue located about 1 to 2 inches inside the front wall of the vagina. So that's the top wall. It is part of the internal clitoral network and swells with arousal, so it becomes highly sensitive to firm pressure. Some women experience deep spreading pleasure or even a sensation of release when this area is stimulated. The A-spot. This is located deeper inside near the cervix, and this area is connected to the body's autonomic nervous system and can trigger vaginal orgasms. The cervix. The lower part of the uterus, which when approached with slow, intentional stimulation, can lead to cervical orgasms or even an emotional release. Cervical pleasure often takes time to develop and is more common after childbirth, so this could be a fun new area to explore and play with after having a baby. Know that the position of the cervix changes in the body depending on what's going on with your cycle. So when someone has their period, the cervix moves down and opens just a little bit. And so it's a lot softer and more sensitive and lower. And so that means in the days before and after menstruation, vaginal penetration might feel a little bit different because the cervix is stimulated more easily. And if you don't like cervical stimulation, you probably want to avoid positions that allow for deep penetration at that time. But then during ovulation, the cervix reaches up higher into the vaginal canal and is less easily accessed through penetration. And so that's a time where if you don't like cervical stimulation, you can experience a deeper penetration without stimulating your cervix. The pelvic floor and vaginal sensation. The pelvic floor muscles form a hammock-like support system for reproductive organs, and their engagement can heighten pleasure. These muscles naturally contract during orgasm, which increases sensation. So learning to relax and engage them mindfully can increase circulation to the genitals, enhance the ability to experience vaginal orgasms, and more. And it can create deeper internal awareness and connection to pleasure. For some women, tension in the pelvic floor can inhibit pleasure. So releasing this tension through breath work, internal massage, or pelvic mapping can allow for more relaxed full body pleasure. And you can see the at-home practices for instructions in the next lesson. How the pelvic floor changes after birth. During pregnancy and birth, the pelvic floor muscles stretch and they shift and adapt to accommodate a growing baby, and in the case of a vaginal birth, allow for their passage into the world. So these changes can create imbalances, such as an overstretched or a weakened muscle, making penetration feel different or less pleasurable, increased tension leading to pain during intimacy, scar tissue from tearing or episiotomy, which may cause discomfort or tightness, and changes in lubrication due to decreased estrogen while producing human milk, which can cause vaginal dryness, nothing a little lube can't solve. And all of this is something that can be healed over time. The pelvic floor is very adaptable, and it's important to recognize that it went through so much bringing a baby into the world, and it might take time to be able to experience pleasure again, and it might also benefit from some pelvic floor awareness exercises, pelvic floor physical therapy, or sexological body work, and a gentle transition into vaginal penetration. But most importantly, the pelvic floor needs rest immediately after birth. I'm talking like weeks in bed and not lifting anything heavy for the first 4 to 6 weeks aside from your new baby.